still am not getting the chat feature to work on Streamlabs. I'm actually waiting for them to move a trailer so that I can, oh, little nipple there, so that I can back this in and get unloaded. My load behind me here, you can't see through the window. But Trudeau has used this Emergency Act or whatever. I guess it used to be like a War Emergencies Act. Now it's like they just changed the name to the Emergency Act. Apparently it's only been used a couple of other times, 3 other times. World War I, World War II, and sometime in the 70s when there was some bombings going on in Quebec. I'm not that knowledgeable about Canadian politics and all that stuff. I'm actually learning a lot more about it recently because of the situation that's going on up there. But they changed the name of it to the Emergencies Act. It's meant for like wartime and stuff like that. It's not meant to quell protests that you don't like. Hopefully the Canadian courts can do something about it, because looking through the stipulations on what's required in order to invoke the Emergency Act, I don't see how he has any legal grounds to do it at all. So hopefully the courts will agree with that and they'll stop this shit. But basically, he's going to be taking everybody's money and locking up their accounts and stuff. Like, if you've donated to the truckers, then they can seize your bank account at this point under this act. So I believe a lot of people in Canada are taking their money out of their bank accounts and closing their accounts out and trying to actually hurt the banks a little bit so that then maybe they will get mad at Trudeau about it, you know? Of course, Trudeau being the great leader that he is, nothing is ever his fucking fault, right? Ever. And that seems to be the way with most spineless government leaders in the world today. So, I actually just applied for monetization on YouTube the other day, and I already got my fuck off letter. That was really nice. It was just completely vague and was just like, your content's harmful to viewers. Like, what does that even mean? And they wouldn't even tell me like what videos or whatever, you know. I would rather they just said, we don't like you, so we're gonna just not pay you, you know? Because what they do to people all the time is they say like, oh, your content's not advertiser friendly, so we're not gonna monetize your channel, like they've done to me. And then they run ads on your stuff and keep the money. So, I mean, that's just how YouTube operates. But yeah, I believe lots of Canadians are pulling their money out of their banks today because Trudeau can take your money. You can take your money at will if you are supporting the truckers. If you've donated, maybe they can take your money. If you're receiving the funds and helping them manage the funds, buy fuel, they're definitely gonna take your money. They seized a couple $1 million bank accounts just yesterday, I believe. This Trudeau's tyranny, I think, it has no end. The man only cares about his legacy and his political career, and he's just trying to do everything he can to save his political career and his legacy, as shit as it is. I mean, honestly, if I was president down here in the States, then I'd be calling to liberate Canada from Trudeau, but I'm not. So I'm not a politician. I'm a truck driver. So, I wish I could get this damn chat to work. Let me try something here. I bet I can pull up my YouTube and actually see the chats. Maybe. Oh yeah, I got my chats. Anyway, if I were you and I had my money in an account and I'm involved in anything to do with this protest, I would probably get my money out of the account. You know, that would probably be the smart thing to do. My camera might be flipping stupid, I don't know. I'm actually really just starting to mess with this, with Streamlabs, so I'm going to try and get some more stuff. I was thinking about dash cam in the truck and doing some trucking, live streams, though. Oh, YouTube hates my channel and they'll never monetize it or anything. I'm working on another project, with some friends of mine. We're going to start probably doing, a weekly collaboration on Saturdays, so pretty soon it'll be a different channel, because there's a group of us that are friends and YouTubers, and we're all basically not going to be able to be monetized because we all support liberty. And Google, we support liberty and free speech and trying not to hate other people just because they don't agree with your politics, and that's the kind of message that we push. So Google, Alphabet Inc., they hate that. They don't like it at all. So all of our channels are shadow banned and won't be able to be monetized. So we've been talking about it and thinking of just doing like a collaborative effort on a new channel and trying to get that through. But it is what it is. YouTube's not the best. Sergey Brin owns Alphabet Inc., that owns Google and YouTube. His father were Russian communists, and until they fled communism in Russia. But it's so odd that these people never really learn from that. They just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Like Michael Bloomberg's parents were Russian Jews who fled the purges in the Soviet Union when they were just killing the Jews, and he's still lefty as hell and like borderline communist. So it's insane to me how people continue to trust governments. But the fact of the matter is this whole thing about majorities and minorities, you need to understand that this is all manipulation. A majority isn't really a majority. A majority is the media telling you that a majority of people believe something and then convincing you that they do, because we are social creatures by nature. Without cooperating, mankind wouldn't have made it to where we are today. We wouldn't have survived on this planet. So in the past, being outcast from society was a death sentence. So if most people believed something was true, it was in your best interest to go ahead and believe that, right, and go along with it. And so that, even though society isn't exactly like that anymore, that's still in our psychology and our biology. So as the media convinces you that a majority of people believe something, a lot of people are very susceptible to just believe it as true because a lot of people believe it. And this is a big problem with lots of things, the media, democracy, democracy is easily manipulated. Democracy is, it's like Ben Franklin said, it's two wolves and a sheep, voting on what's for dinner. And, when a majority of people don't have a clue, democracy fails, So, like, democracy would only really be good with a very educated, well-informed population, which we don't have in the West at all, anywhere in the West, in the States, in Canada, and Europe. We just do not have this. So we have maybe 10% of people that are actually plugged in and paying attention to what's going on, that have valid opinions, have valid reasons for their opinions. I've often, when I speak with people on the left, I make fun of them and make jokes about them on my channel and stuff, but I don't hate them. I don't. And at the end of my videos, when I say don't be a fucking commie, it's actually life advice. Because I was a leftist when I was younger, and I was a loser, and I lived in my mom's basement. Like, that's just the way it was. And not until I started becoming more conservative in my personal values did I find success in my life. And the biggest change in that was that I learned to accept personal responsibility for my failures. Oh, hello, Eagle Warrior and Thomas Mueller. As I became more conservative in my personal life, not even really politically, I'm not really, wouldn't be considered a conservative in the United States. I'm actually an anarcho-capitalist, but I'm a capitalist, so therefore the left hates me, you know, and most of my friends are conservatives. I forgot where I was going with that. But Thomas Mueller from Germany. God bless you, brother, in Jesus' mighty name, amen. Amen, man. I'm glad that the whole world is paying attention to this global tyranny that's happening, because if you're from Canada and you're watching this, I want you to understand that I've had comments from the Netherlands, from Germany, from UK, from Spain, Portugal, from, I mean, just Greece, Italy, like all over the world, people are supporting this. Now, the media can sit there and pretend like they're a minority, and some people will actually believe the media because they do. I don't know why. But the majority of people want freedom. It is a natural, it is perfectly natural as human nature to want freedom. Excuse me while I back this truck up. Blind side. My eyes closed, I'm kidding. Damn. So, yeah, I'm gonna get unloaded. I got about a 2.5 hour run back home, and I'll be done for the day. But I've been running since 3 o'clock this morning, my time zone, which is it's a little after 8 o'clock right now. I'm in Missouri, which is the greatest state in the union, in my opinion, and mostly for the politics, because we have ample freedom, low taxes. You can carry a gun in Missouri without a permit. You just, as long as you're not a felon, you can just go buy a gun right now, stick it in your pocket, carry it around for your protection. And we do not have a lot of high crime in this state. Left states have way higher crime rates than us. We have some in the cities that are run by Democrats, St. Louis and Kansas City, but the majority of the state is rural, conservative. Yes, Illinois, right? Spent a lot of time in Illinois. I've carried guns in Illinois. Not legally. But if I have to go to Chicago Heights, I'm not going with a pocket knife on me. I don't care what the law says. Like, they'd have to catch me with that. Good luck. But I don't go to Illinois anymore. I drove over the road for almost 20 years. I'm getting close to 40. And I'm done with it. I work local now. This is actually the longest trip that I make anymore, and it's about 3.5 hours. Good. Yeah, no violence. There hasn't been any violence in Canada. This is absolute bullshit that he's invoked this emergency act. There's been no violence. You know, I guess they planted a bunch of guns on people down at Coots border, and arrested like 11 people. So, you know, they can do that under the Emergencies Act. So there's a lot of really dirty, foul, double-handed bullshit going on. And I don't really know how to win it. I really don't know how to beat them. I think what Canada's doing is working. And I think that it will eventually beat them, but it's going to take a lot of time and work. Like, it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be a really hard fight. Being free is never easy, guys. It's not. You have to be dedicated to it. And you know, I'm very proud of Canadians. The night vision was on backwards. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. The night vision was, oh, on the stolen guns? Is that what you're talking about, Mia? There was a night vision scope on backwards or something? Is that what you're saying? That's fucking great. Of course, you know. They're probably all seized guns, stolen guns that were in an evidence locker somewhere. And they probably just slapped some optics on them and put them out. On some of the guns. It's never, like, Canada has so outlandish gun laws that, and registries for everything, that they should be able to know who bought those guns, you know, where those guns come from, and they should be able to prove where those guns come from. And so I think that a legal fund is important for those guys that got arrested. Clowns, exactly. It's an absolute joke. And look, these people believe that if you tell a lie enough times that it becomes true, so they're just going to keep lying. You know, it's very frustrating. And I just really hope that the Canadians don't give it up. Don't get too frustrated or find it too taxing of a task to carry on. Now, you know, like I said, I'm very proud of Canadians. I've made lots of jokes about Canadians. My best friend that I've ever had in my life was Canadian. And I used to shit on him all the time and tease him. But he was like really patriotic Canadian. He just loved Canada. He's from Alberta. I met him in the States. He was a truck driver. We were both broke down in Chicago, Peoria, very bad neighborhood, together. And we just hit it off, and then we talked for years, and we used to meet up in the States in convoy all the time. And he was a lot older than me. He was more like a father figure to me. And I used to tease him, and I would say that he was from Canada. Instead of calling it Canada, I would call it Canada, and I would call kilometers Canadian miles. You know, only I'd spell it with a K. And he would always get all mad. He's like, it's Canada! He was so patriotic. And I really, you know, he was a very pro-freedom guy, so I didn't really understand why he liked Canada so much. You know, I really didn't. But now I kind of do, because it's not about the government or the tyranny that's happening. It's about the people. You know, the people of Canada seem to be fucking great. You know, they seem like great people. And, you know, here in the States, we haven't really experienced near the stuff that you guys have, which is why you know, Canada's been pushed to the brink to where they cannot tolerate it anymore. In the States, we really haven't been pushed that hard. Like, I haven't been vaxxed. I've never put a mask on, ever. I was in Ohio. Their governor had a mask mandate on all state grounds. I stopped at a rest area. I went in one time, didn't have a mask on. Security guard's like, oh, you got to put a mask on. And I'm like, your governor doesn't have any fucking authority over me. Just walked right past him. He just stood there shocked. He's a fucking rent-a-cop security guard at a fucking rest stop, unarmed security. What's he gonna do? You probably can't tell from me sitting in this truck, but I'm big. I'm a very big man. I'm 6'5", 250, gym rat kind of guy, you know? So people do not approach me and try and tell me I have to do this or that or whatever. People are often, I guess, just intimidated by me. They don't approach me. They don't try and dictate to me shit. And then when they do, I tell them to go fuck themselves, and then they just shut up immediately. So, now don't get me wrong, like, they'll still tread on me just as much as they will anyone else, but if it's just one rent-a-cop, like at the rest stop, he's not going to do anything. If it's a guy working in a grocery store or in a truck stop, he's not going to do anything, you know? Like, law enforcement will just bag me and tag me just like anybody else if things get out of hand. But for the most part, I just ignore all mandates. I openly flaunt them. I don't obey them. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they say. I don't care about tickets. I don't care about none of that. Right? I mean, I don't know how many cops I've told, go get your ticket book. Write whatever tickets you want, because your laws only affect poor people. And this is the truth, okay? Look. If you have the money to pay a fine and you have no lust for money and you don't care about money like me, right? Like, I have more than I need, so I consider myself to be a rich man, even though by most people's standards, I am not rich at all. But what is a rich man other than someone who has more than he needs? And the fact that I have no lust for money or care, I don't care about the money. My freedom is more important to me than my money. So they can write me the ticket, I'll pay it, and it means I can do whatever the fuck I want. There's basically no repercussion. It doesn't mean anything to me. But now if you're poor and struggling to get by, you must obey. Because you can't afford to pay the fine. If you can't afford to pay the fine, then you go to jail. You know, so laws are not ever equally applied. Ever. And all laws, no matter how frivolous they are, will be enforced up to and including your death. So, you know, this is why it should be really important for people to be very careful about what they make laws about. Because all laws are the same. You either comply, or you go to jail, or you get killed. Or, you know, whatever, you pay a fine or whatever. But, as for me, I have no desire to do anything that would merit a felony. But as far as anything, a ticketable offense, if I feel like doing it, I'll just fucking do it. I don't care. What's a ticket to me? I don't care about the money. I don't care at all. So, I actually told this to a Fed in the gym about 3 weeks ago. I told him his government has no authority over me. Because I'm not scared of them. Because all they have is fear. Right? That's all they have. All a government can do to you is take your money, put you in a cage, or kill you. If you believe in God, you should not fear death. You know, it's a hard thing to get past, but mentally, to barrier to break past, because our survival instincts are so strong. But if you really believe in God, you understand that we all die and that our souls will be reconciled in the end. Well, it gives you a lot more power and gives you a lot more freedom. So, once you can rid yourself of fear, the government cannot control you anymore. You don't fear losing money or your freedom or your life, and then you are free, and that's the hardest thing in the world to do. So, it's very hard to do, and it took me a lot of years to get there. I have struggled for a very long time with politics because I hate politics. I don't think the government should exist at all. Like I've said before, I am an anarcho-capitalist. My ANCAP flag hoodie, which which means that I don't think the government should exist at all. But I do not think that mankind has evolved beyond the need for it. Like we're all afraid. We're all scared, petulant children, and it's just the way that it is. And fear is the government. The government actually, it is fear. So people either go along with government because they're afraid of what government will do to them, or they want government because they're afraid of what other people will do to them, and they think that the government protects them. But there's no real safety in this world. Anything can happen at any time, and you just have to learn to accept that and realize that the police will not be there to save you. When the time comes, they won't be. So, that's why in the States, the Second Amendment is so important, self-defense is so important. But, like this shit with Trudeau, I believe that the United States has invaded countries and overthrown regimes for less than what Trudeau is doing to the Canadians right now. I really do. The stuff that he's doing is unimaginable to me. You can just take people's, living in government prevents communism, exactly. It prevents a lot of things. It prevents a lot of atrocities. And people go, oh, but what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? Look, utopias don't exist, right? Like, there's always going to be problems. People are imperfect, so we will always have issues, But government does not fix them. That's, it's a trade-off. Thomas Sowell said everything is a trade-off. There's no, this is golden, this is bad. It's, will you trade this for that? Will you trade that for this? And that's the reality of everything in life. It's a trade-off. So basically every problem that the government fixes, they create a new one. And then they have to fix that. And this is the cycle of big government, how government continues to grow. That and people in power will always lust for more power. And that is a universal rule. I personally lust for no power, but I've never really had any either. So I don't know how I would act truly if I had power. I believe that I would leave everyone the fuck alone, but I don't think that I can say that for sure unless I had some power, you know? Like, maybe it would corrupt me. I don't know. The only thing that I have any power over is myself. And so I try to act accordingly. But I think we should all be praying for those truck drivers up there. And we should all be praying for the world right now. This is so weird what is happening. The othering of people, you know, the new unclean, right? The unvaxxed, they're the new others. It's a very old concept that mankind has done forever. You create an outside boogeyman to focus on so that you can control your people. And right now, there is no outside boogeyman. The boogeyman is inside our own country. It's the unvaxxed. That's what they're using, you know. They're the new Judah, right? Which, you know, we're not to that level yet, but it does happen throughout a time frame. So, like, while Trudeau may not be acting like 1938 Hitler, which this exact phrase I'm going to take, this comes from Viva Frey. He said, while he may not be acting like 1938 Hitler, he's certainly acting like 1933 Hitler. But can we hold out long enough is the thing, I think. And they're going to try everything they can do to stop people from being able to hold out. They're seizing people's money. You know, they're arresting people. They're doing, they're shutting down crowdfunding. They're calling people terrorists that have committed no violence at all. And like, it doesn't matter that it's not true, does it? Because they're still going to do what they want to do. They're just going to do whatever they want to do. So it comes a point in time when people need to say, no, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. You're going to do what you want to do. I'll just do what I want to do. But it has to be en masse. It has to be like a great awakening. And this this is awakening a lot of people. So, this is a very powerful movement. It's one of the most powerful movements I've ever seen, I watched the Black Lives Matter movement go down. It's a very misguided movement, though police brutality is a problem all over the world. Congress, we're taking our money out of banks. I heard people say, oh, but then the banks will collapse and then the Canadian bank will take good. Like, well, why do we need all this global banking? Why do we need international bankers running all the banks in our countries? Let them fucking collapse. Who cares? We should have national banks in our countries. Yeah. Knowledge has more value than dollar and banks. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Who cares about money? You're not taking it with you. Stop caring about it. But you need the resources to outlast Trudeau and his regime. You need the resources to continue protesting. It's your right to protest. Even if you don't get what you want, you need to be able to protest. I mean, this is the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. These people are such hypocrites. They're all for protesting when it's something that they like, even if it's violent. Then they lie about it. Oh, it's mostly fiery, but mostly peaceful. But then when you have a peaceful protest you don't like, well, that's violence there, And look, anyone with half a brain can see it for what it is, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Think about it like this. MLK got the hoses and dogs turned on him. That's what made people pay attention to him. That's what made people listen to what he had to say, because they went out peacefully and they were attacked, by the law. And that is a powerful message to send to people. And that may be the message that Canada needs to send to people. I think a lot of Canadians are ready to make a sacrifice. I think they're ready to, take that beating if they have to. And that takes a lot of stones, So I'm very proud of the Canadians. Like I said, I figured out why my buddy loved Canada so much. Sadly, he did die waiting on a liver in Canadian healthcare. So, I guess he had cirrhosis of the liver. Didn't even drink, man. The guy didn't even drink. And he died like 2 years ago. And broke my heart. But now I kind of see why he loved Canada so much. You know, he was a very super patriotic. Anytime I make Canada jokes, he'd just go off on that. You know, he's a guy. The guy just loved Canada, and it was, you know, because of the people, I guess. You know, his dad was like a Knights of Columbus guy or something, and he used to shoot long range guns, and it was like his favorite thing to do, which something I like to do too, is go out on the plane and fire a rifle 1,000 yards in a steel plate. It's great. You fire the gun, you're back on the scope in time to see the bullet arrive and hit. And then it's like 3 seconds later, or 4 seconds later, you hear it hit. And it's really neat. And so, but he was we got talking about that a lot, man. And my friend Eric, who had passed, and he said his dad used to do that. That was like a stress reliever, you know. And then the government took his guns. And he said his dad was never the same again, really, after that. So, that's pretty sad. But hopefully Canada can win the free back. But listen, when do you stop? Like, you get the mandates taken off. I understand, yeah, that's the goal of the protest. Okay, if you succeed and you get the mandates taken off, is that all the freedom you want? You have to think about that. Are you going to stop there? I mean, I believe Canadians, not being super knowledgeable about Canadian history and politics, I believe that Canadians have been, much like the States, losing more and more rights over time. Like, how many rights have you lost in the last 30 years? I don't really know. I don't know. I'm not an expert on Canada. But I guarantee you it's more than just the medical apartheid going on. You know, what's another thing that's ridiculous about the whole situation is that it just, you know, they're violating Nuremberg codes, they're violating Hippocratic oaths, okay? And these things were all put in place for a very good reason. It was to stop governments from doing medical experiments on people and killing their own people. So, but now they're just violating it. And no one's doing anything about it? Like, there's no, you know, international law on that? Oh, there is, but we're not enforcing international law. Most of these countries are violating their own laws. Most of these governments are violating their own laws. They're acting as rogue governments, you know. The governments of the West and the people are so far apart right now. It's a huge problem. It's supposed to be the government of the people for the people, but it's not. It's a government of the elites, you know, who really look at the working class with disdain. They don't like us. They don't like us at all. So what do you do then, you know? Or they believe that we're just here to serve them. That's what we're here for. And you know, it's tragic, and I think that we're going to see another great tragedy in this world in my lifetime. And I worry about it a lot. But I love the hope that Canadians have spread all over the world with this. Yeah, you know, our Hail Mary, all or nothing. That's what it is. That's what it is. You cannot give up. Because look, if you back down, you're fucked. Like, they know who all of you are. They've got your plates and all this stuff. They've got all your names in a fucking database. If you stop and go home, is Trudeau going to round you up? I mean, he comes out and says, how long are we going to tolerate these people? What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? That's just a horrible concept. Like, we have to tolerate each other in this world. There's plenty of people that I don't like. You know, there's plenty of political beliefs I don't like. I still try to be very tolerant of them. You know, I may not abide by your orders. But it doesn't mean that I think that you're less than human for supporting it. I might think you're misguided or foolish, but they're dehumanizing people at this point. And this is the most dangerous fucking thing that could happen. Like, the idea that this could even happen again in this world shows you that people do not learn from the past. Like, this was not that long ago when this happened. Yeah, truckers under the floorboards. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. What are you going to have to do if they back down and they leave? You know, Trudeau's talking about how long do we tolerate these people? What does that mean, Trudy? What does that mean? We know what it means. It's just hard to accept. It's a hard thing to accept that this could happen in the West in 2022. That we could be dehumanizing people for simply making a different choice or not agreeing with us. Like, this is, it's disgusting. How long do the people tolerate him? Obviously, they're not tolerating him. What did he get elected in with? 31%. And now he has like a 16% approval rating. How is this majority government? How is this democracy? You know? They're always on and on about democracy. How? What democracy are we talking about here? 16% rule? Yeah. And, you know, every poll that I've seen, now we're not going to the exact same thing here in the States. I will disagree with you. I mean, we are, but to a lesser extent, less extreme. The ideologies are still here. So, like, we are kind of, yeah, I guess so. We're going through the same thing, but in a different timeline. We might be 20 years behind Canada's tyranny. So, I mean, they're trying it here. You realize that Joe Biden only decided to do the vaxxed across the border. Yeah, I get what you're saying. He only decided to make you take a vax across the border because Trudeau lobbied our president to do that. Biden wasn't going to do it. Trudeau convinced Joe Biden to pass that. Or I don't know if they passed the fucking thing. I think it's just another mandate. Yeah, get your money out of the banks. Get your money out of the banks. It's yours. Yeah, they're in cahoots. Exactly. Trudeau, Biden are in cahoots. Oh, the leftism around the world, I'm not going to say just like Democrats or liberals. I'm talking about leftists, authoritarians in particular, globalist left, are all in cahoots all over the world. All over the world, not just the U.S. and Canada, everywhere. It's a global movement. They basically want to just control the whole world. And they're doing it through the most ridiculous and brutal tactics, so... Yeah, that's what I've been talking about, Jennifer. How bad it is to dehumanize people. I don't even want to dehumanize Trudeau. You know, he's a tyrant. He should be out of power, but he's still a human being. Right? Like, this is something that's very important that we don't turn into them, right? That we don't start saying, treating them like they are not human beings, right? We cannot do that. If we start doing that, then we just have two factions dehumanizing each other, and then we just kill each other. That's the only thing I could see happening. So we just have to do our absolute best to not let ourselves become them. It's very important, I think. Yeah. The funny thing about friends and neighbors and families, Jennifer, is that they won't talk politics with me. They haven't disowned me or anything. But any of them that disagree with me, they won't discuss it with me because they know what's going to happen. I'm going to drag their asses. So like my in-laws, for example, my father-in-law's a Democrat, and I start telling him what was happening in Canada, like, I don't know, 10 days before the convoy arrived in Ottawa, when I was covering the comms on live streams and stuff. And it's like I start trying to tell him what's happening, but if he didn't see it on CNN, it's not real. And that's literally what he thinks. He's just like, I'll start talking about something, he'll just go like this. Just look away. Act like you don't hear what I'm saying. Or he'll just deny its existence. He'll be like, oh, I didn't see that on the news. It's not happening. You know? Like, you have to be next level fooling yourself to believe that if it's not happening on the news, it's not real. He literally told my wife that the trucker convoy was not real. It was all fake. And everything on YouTube is fake. And I'm like, yeah, there's lots of fake stuff on YouTube, but there's lots of real stuff on YouTube. I think there's more video uploaded to YouTube every minute than you can watch in your entire life. So, thanks for watching my stupid ass sit in a truck and bitch about Canada. Trudeau, you know. He's actually not, Robert. The funny thing about my father-in-law is he's got such conservative values, like more than me, probably. He has more, like, in his life, the way he behaves and what he actually believes, he's more conservative than me. But he doesn't pay attention to politics correctly. He only watches, you know, one side of the news. He believes the oldest tale in American politics, which is Democrats are for the poor and Republicans are for the rich, which is, you know, the dumbest thing ever. And that's like the extent of his actual political knowledge. You know, that's what he believes, and that's it. Like, he's actually not a piece of shit. He's just doesn't know shit about fuck. You know, he's actually a pretty good guy. But yeah, he won't discuss any of this stuff with me. So, that's been the case with me for a long time, because I'm actually probably a lot more well-informed than most people are. I pay attention to politics constantly because politics bother me. You know, I worry about them a lot. It's actually probably one of my very few sources of anxiety. Is worrying about what out of control governments can do. So, like, I talk about politics all the time, you know, and people think that I'm obsessed with politics, and this, you know, or they think, people always assume I'm this or I'm that, and they're always off base. I hate politics. I don't think it should exist. I don't think it should exist. It shouldn't exist at all. You should just live your lives. Like, the reason that people don't go around murdering each other in the streets isn't because government exists. It's because deep down inside, we all do have a moral compass. You know, and yes, there are bad people and there are evil people in the world, but the majority of people are not. The majority of these people are just very misguided or very afraid. I mean, you're so afraid of a virus that it makes you think irrationally. Like, you don't think rationally when you're afraid. And that's the state that they try to induce in people. It's like the, you know, gun control arguments in the States are always like, well, if it was your son that got shot, you would feel differently. And it's like, well, yeah, if it was my son that got shot, I wouldn't be thinking rationally, right? I wouldn't be thinking rationally at all if my son got shot. So why do you want me to think in an irrational state in order to agree with you? The only way that I would agree with him is if I was thinking irrationally. And that's what they want. They want people to think irrationally. The powers that be, the governments, media, corporations. You know, this is all big corpo bullshit, right? Like corporate media and the left being in bed with corporations and all this stuff. So, and then, you know, the left is supposedly, look, everything that they're supposedly are, they're not. They're supposed to be anti-corporation. They're not. They do everything corporations ask them to do. You know, corporations kiss their asses and, you know, make rainbow shoes and shit. I don't know. Like, I don't care about that stuff, but it's just like, it's pandering, you know. And I guess if you're dumb enough to give a company money for pandering to you, whatever, but they're all in cahoots. Big Pharma has made so much damn money. It's ridiculous. Because, and everyone's like, oh, but the shot's free. No, it's not. Your tax dollars pay for this shit. And it's way overpriced. I believe it was like $1,500 a shot in the United States. The tax dollars are paying to Pfizer, Moderna, etc. So, this is just further indebting the country as they print money and devalue the dollar. And, You know, the funny thing about money is whatever the fuck we want it to be as the people, and people need to understand that. I have not noticed that, Primal. I bought my house in 2017, something like that. I haven't actually been looking for acreage. I have acreage. I have not looked at the price. I have a home on an acre, and then I have separate acreage out of the woods where I got some stuff going up out there. Big greenhouse. I do a sawmill out there. It's going to be called Forest Farm someday. Honeybees, greenhouses, blackberries, and all wild foods from Missouri and stuff like that. So I'm trying to create a sustainable food source for me and my family, and also maybe sell local food, right? Actual local food. So this is something that I've been working for a while, for a few years. So the greenhouse is framed, almost completely framed at this point, and it's huge. It's a big greenhouse. So what is going on in Tennessee, though? I don't understand that. My three favorite states in this country are Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri. Missouri is my favorite, but I don't know what you mean by Tennessee has gotten out of control. Got lost in the woods once. They just had to find me. One of my favorite things to do is you go get lost in the woods. I love to hunt and mushroom hunt and stuff like that. You know, everyone floods down around my area morel season to morel hunt, but those aren't the best mushrooms. They're not. The best mushrooms go on trees, but most people aren't knowledgeable enough about the mushrooms. They're scared to eat most of them. Why do you think Tennessee is communist? I mean, they don't have state tax. They don't have state income tax, do they? Got lucky here. They won't go all the way to dishonor themselves on the world. Get if they did. You know, oh yeah. Zobo's family. My bro and all their grandchildren resisting cult. So I guess it's the older people in your family that are falling in line with this stuff and believing it and buying it hook, line, and sinker. Then, Hank 3. Man, I know this idiot from Missouri. Never liked the guy. Tried to get him to step outside of me before, and he wouldn't do it. But he actually had his head signed by Hank 3, and then had it tattooed on his fucking head. Take your money for no reason. Yeah, Nuremberg Code violation. This is very important. Chicago them. Are you a Sikh by chance? I think there's been a lot of Sikhs up there. Sikhs. I'm not even sure the right way to say that word. I've heard it both ways. Yeah, about 1,000 or 1,500 per acre. That's about what it was now. It's well over 2K. Okay, all right. So I've made money on the property then if I were to sell. Oh, okay. Muslim. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, they're gonna say here white supremacists, all of us, but there are Sikhs and Muslims and everyone. They want freedom. They want freedom. They don't want to be a subject. You know, these are people, and people want freedom naturally. You know, and I have no problem with anyone's faith or anything like that. I don't have our race or any of that shit. I don't care about any of that shit. I don't. It's irrelevant. What I care about is, do you want freedom or do you want to be a slave? And if you want to be a slave, that's fine. You want to make me one with you. If you want to make me one with you, then we're not gonna drive so well. Oh yeah, really, Robert? That's funny because ride around in your car with 5,000, he says, and see what happens. I mean, I usually roll around with a little bit of money on me. But I got that thing on me too that you can't show on live stream with 20 rounds in it. So. Well, that's right. That's right, Islam. Slave to God only. No, actually, it's scrap metal. They're unloading. So it's like bundles of air conditioner radiators. It's probably about $150,000 worth of shit, and then I'm gonna go get the check for it as soon as I'm done here and take it back to work. So yeah, they're in a forklift. They're forklifting in the back of this trailer and trying to get these bundles that were loaded in with a claw machine. So they're wrestling them back there. I mean, I don't really have any Muslim friends per se, but I have had very good conversations with several Muslims online. I think they definitely get a fucking horrible rap and get treated like shit. Like, you want to talk about dehumanization? Muslims know about dehumanization and what it's like, right? Like, they get the fucking worst end of everything. Yeah, I've hauled boulders on a flatbed before. There's a place down in Arkansas where they'll load them on your flatbed. You gotta strap them down. It's horrible. The mainstream Muslims are being quiet. They're not allowed. They have to be on the field with you guys. Mainstream Muslims are being quiet. There. Not allowed. They have to be on the field with you guys. I don't understand. I've seen lots of videos of Palestinians and stuff at Ottawa. One of the video I did here recently called How MSM Works. There's a video of that. There's a Palestinian. There was a Palestinian out there that was interviewed by Viva Frey, who said there's no racism here. Everyone's singing and dancing and having fun, and all the stuff that Trudeau says is a lie. He's wearing a Palestinian scarf. So, which, there was a lot of people like that there. This is not, freedom is not a white people thing. It's ridiculous that it's all they ever do. But, the funny thing about this is maybe it's waking a lot of people up. Yeah, Viva Frey is great. The guy's a damn genius. Maybe it's waking a lot of people up to how they've been race baited, right? How that people have used their race to manipulate them, It's like, you sit and you see all these people protesting against all this white supremacy, and you might believe that if you're a minority. Maybe you think that, police are hunting down minorities and this and that. But then when you see, there's police brutality against all people. All people. It happens. That's the way law works. You either you comply or you're getting it. But now I'm seeing lots of minorities supporting this movement, and they're also seeing the media calling it white supremacy. So maybe it will wake them up to the fact that the media is fucking playing them and lying to them, right? I can only hope that it will. See, where I live, I'm surrounded by conservatives. Completely surrounded by conservatives, and I very rarely see racism. I do see it from time to time. It's usually some guy making some racist remark or whatever. I don't see people getting attacked or anything like that. I've seen some white boys say some horrible shit, don't get me wrong. I've never seen anyone be mistreated because of their race. I don't see racism everywhere. Every now and then I see it. And then I see these lefties, and they're constantly talking about this rampant racism and this and that, and maybe they do see it because they're surrounded by lefties. Maybe that's it. Because there's a guy on YouTube that goes by I don't know if he's on YouTube. I saw a short. It could have been from Instagram or through Facebook. I don't remember where I saw that. Goes by Millennial Spike Lee. He went to a Trump rally lately as a social experiment just to see what would happen. He wore the red hat, and he said that he was welcomed, but not overly welcomed, like they weren't tokenizing him. He said, which was important. And he said that, but he sadly did experience racism. as he walked by the leftists outside who called him all kinds of racial slurs for going to a Trump rally. So maybe there's a racist problem on the left that I'm not seeing because I don't hang out with all the leftists. I don't know. Maybe that's why these people think there's racism everywhere, because they're in the cities around all these leftists, and maybe there is a lot in there. I don't know. Mass psychosis is a real thing, you know. At least I like to hope that it is. All right, because here's the thing. I love how the left is now talking about mass formation psychosis is not a real thing, right? You know, that people came up with that trying to justify why people are dehumanizing other human beings, right? They're trying to figure out why people are acting like this without just saying, well, these people must be these people must be evil and vile, you know. They're trying to say, well, you know, I don't believe they're just evil and vile. It must be some kind of mass formation psychosis. And then the left comes out there, oh no, mass formation psychosis doesn't exist. And then you're just like, what's left? Evil and vile. And I don't really even know anymore. I don't know anymore what to think about it. Eagle Warrior says the KKK recently allowed everyone of their sons to be in a KKK, excluding the Jews for some reason. I have no idea. Oh, let's check these comments. Yeah. Someone said they say certain people are easily hypnotized. It makes sense that some aren't easily brainwashed. Yeah, possibly. They're calling for massive worker walkout starting next week. If you don't work, government gets no money. That's my mom. That's for my mom. Well, it's a made-up phrase to describe an evil, deception perpetrated against humanity. This is very possible, educated choice. I mean, I think that people want to believe that they're just not evil and vile. You know, so I don't know if it's real, really, or if it's not. I'm not a psychologist, but I would like to hope that it's mass formation psychosis and that these people aren't actually just evil and vile. That they're just, you know, they're not there. They don't know what's going on. Yeah, the left called Larry Elder a white supremacist. They did. Larry Elder. You know, they'd call Thomas Sowell a black supremacist too. Or a white supremacist too. Most of the best, you know, black historical figures that I learned about in school, like MLK, are rejected by the left now. They don't believe in judging you by the content of your character. But yeah, I mean, it may be just a made-up phrase, you know, to just try and understand why they're doing what they're doing. At a certain point, we're just going to have to say they're doing what they're doing, and we just can't stand for it, and we need to stop trying to find ways to justify their behavior and just say, no, we're just not going to allow it. You know, we're just not going to allow this. Yes, this is true, James, and they do it they do it constantly. So I think, you know, racism must be rampant in the left. It just must be. I'm a leftist. The hate is palpable. We all, as hardworking, respectable people, have more in common than either side cares to admit that dumbing down and brainwashing is real. You're right. I'm not gonna say anything derogatory to you for being a leftist. I don't agree with your politics. That doesn't, you know, mean that I'm gonna hate you. Like, it's ridiculous, right? Yeah, people are always trying to tell country people how to live. It is true, there is a sense of urban superiority in the United States. And the divide in the United States is mostly urban versus rural. My only opinion in this is Mopar or no car. Honda. High five Hondas. You know. My buddies got a Hellcat. Shit's on my Hondas constantly. I go to the car meet, I've always got the slowest fucking car there. I don't care. I got a 91 CRX. I fucking love it, you know. Yeah, I think that the same kind of radical protests have been happening in Canada, that's been happening in the States, of course, you know. Like it's what it says in Canada as well. Yeah, shut it all fuck down. I'm giving away my actual location. I'm in Missouri. I'm at a scrapyard in Missouri. So, salvage yard, a big one. The states are all fucked up. You know, decentralized power is a very important thing too. People are very different all over the place. You know, people who live in cities and people who live in the country and people who live out, you know, in the middle of fucking nowhere up in northern Canada. And, you know, like okay, you got people from all different walks of life, different beliefs and different stuff. And then we try and make these big giant one rule fits all policies that doesn't fucking work, right? I'm not a big Fiat fan, but you guys can have all the parts you want. No. I'm in the States. Not Halifax. No, yeah, centralized power is ridiculous. We try and make these one-size-fits-all dictates, and we have people from all different walks of life living across a vast geographic area. Decentralized power is very important. It's what the United States was based on, and it's completely perverted. The 10th Amendment might as well have been flushed down the toilet, which basically says that any power not granted to the federal government but not specifically denied to states falls to the state. And that's not true anymore. It's just not the way that it works. The way it should read now is any power that the federal government wants, the federal government gets. You know, that's how they operate. The federal government was supposed to be like the baby of the state governments, you know, and now it's the other way around. You know, the federal government's become Big Daddy, and we have a lot of problems here in the States too. We certainly do, but we have not been objectified nearly as bad as Canadians have been. There was a leftist in here earlier. I hope she's still here. Wasn't it not too long ago that there was a lot of people on the left that were like completely anti-vax? Like it really seems like it wasn't that long ago. Like Friday, I'm going to see Rob Schneider, a stand-up comedian. He's a libertarian, the guy that did Deuce Bigelow and all that. Anti-vax, completely won't vax his kids at all for nothing. Polio, none of it, you know. And I know there's like there was this big Jenny McCarthy thing, you know, and all these liberals that were against vaccinations, right? So has authoritarian leftism taken over all liberalism? People who consider themselves to be liberals and their parties, has it been completely taken over by authoritarianism? That's it's just been a remarkable change to see people who were once just anti-vax, didn't trust the vaccines at all, now supporting mandates. Yeah, I like Rob Schneider. My favorite comedian ever was Norm Macdonald, and I never did get to see him live. The last time he was near me, I didn't get to go. I was gonna go and I didn't get to go, and then he died. And there was a phase when I was younger where I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And if you watch some of my videos, some of them are very funny, but I'm not a stand-up. But I loved Norm. He was my idol for a long time. I used to get up in the middle of the night. I grew up kind of rough, but you know, there was a time in my childhood where things were pretty bad. And I would always get up on Saturday night and watch Saturday Night Live just for Weekend Update. And I never watched Saturday Night Live again after they fired Norm Macdonald. I was done with it. So that's how much I love Norm, and I watched everything he ever did. And then he passed. And now Rob Schneider's coming near me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna miss Rob Schneider, you know. So I'm taking the wife. It's her Valentine's Day present. Friday, we're going to St. Louis, nice hotel. I'm gonna spoil the wife, Rob Schneider, all that stuff. right, left is a false division. They're just labels used to control your political orientation through social pressure. Yeah, I guess so. I generally just look at things more on an authoritarian, libertarian spectrum myself, because I don't care for authoritarians on the right or on the left, at all. So, and I would shit on them both. So, the left, I shit on more, and it's not because they're really worse than the authoritarian right. It's mostly because they're more popular, so I feel they're more dangerous. It's become a very popular trend, right? Look at the policies for what they are worth themselves, not for their label. Okay, yeah, I understand that concept, Zobo, but then you have the same people that were promoting, policy A, are now all of a sudden supporting policy B. So, yes, they may be labels and everything, but then you have people who pretend to believe in certain things, and then the next year they believe in something completely different. And this is what is confusing to me, and probably by design, meant to confuse people. Yeah, uniparty system, no right or left, elites versus the people, and they keep us divided, distracted constantly. Social pressure. Social pressure. I was talking about that earlier, Zobo, about how they convince you that a majority of people think something so that you will, because it's your in your biology and survival instincts to fit in with society. So, I remember where I learned that from. Might have been Jordan Peterson or something. I forget. But it's true. It is true. And yes, they're definitely against the people, the working class, the peasantry, whatever you want to call it. They have shown nothing but disdain for us. So, oh yeah, it's fine, Joe. I'm working too, can't you tell? I'm getting my truck unloaded. Yeah, I remember reading about all that stuff, James. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a conspiracy theory, because things are always conspiracy theories until they're not, right? So, just like, I don't know how many things in the past year alone, it's just been like, it turns out that's true. Oh, here, most recently, Hillary Clinton, oh yeah, she was spying on the Oval Office while Trump was in office and his campaign. Which is like Watergate times 1,000. But we're really not going to do anything about it. Hillary, she's basically the queen of the country, right? I mean, if we're going to just pick some queen, why do we pick some ugly bitch from Arkansas? So, I don't know. Couldn't we pick somebody at least decent looking? Maybe not an evil murderer, We should just get the murderers out of the White House, just get the murderers out. There's no more murderers, you know what I'm saying? Let me know if you know what that's from. Yes, there are lots of documents, especially about Agenda 21 and stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to say it's not real. Because everything that everyone says the conspiracy theory lately just turns out to not be so much a conspiracy theory as much as an actual conspiracy. Yeah, they don't care what it takes as long as it wins. As long as they win. That is possible, that's true. I mean, how far are they willing to go is scary. It's a scary thing to think of. How far are they willing to go? And it's probably a lot farther than we'd like to admit to ourselves. Yeah, it is about winning. I think a lot of this too is also about people's inability to admit that they were ever wrong about a thing, right? Once you've been wrong, and then you just double down, you double down until it's just fucking insane because I can't admit I was wrong about one stupid little thing. And I think politicians do that all the time. You just double down, triple down, blah, blah. Keep going. Yeah. Well, the word conspiracy in the 20th century imagining is always preceded by the word theory, isn't it? Theory is just tied to that word now. And they will stick together and accomplish that while the right is too busy fighting each other. Here's the thing, for the right a lot, our more conservative people tend to stick to their values a lot more. As far as I can tell, actually have values, and a lot of the times I wonder if the left does at all. But and so when they see people on the right doing something stupid, they'll call them out on it, but the left won't. They cover for each other. They lie and cover for each other constantly. So this is why the left can be more united than the right, in my opinion. Sonic boom. Oh. Michael says Trudeau will be using sonic boom machine on Ottawa convoy. They are flying into Trenton. Now, I don't really know a lot about that, Michael, what a sonic boom machine is, or if they're just going to fly over and break the sound barrier. I mean, I know what a sonic boom is, or how that's even going to affect the truckers. How's that going to affect them? It's like a boom. Freedom theory. Soon these lunar media types are going to call it freedom theory. Alright, okay, so it's an aircraft, but it just creates sonic booms or what? I mean, I don't understand that. I know there are sonic weapons, that like directionally you can point at people and put them on the fucking ground. It could be that directed energy weapon. Ear and stomach damage. Okay. Well, I could see that causing ear damage, but then can they direct it towards the truckers and not everyone in Ottawa? Multimeter wave projector applied by militaries. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Educated choice, the audio weapon that puts people on the fucking ground. You just point it at them and then it puts them down. It's crazy. The walls of Jericho. Right? A lot of people believe that was a sonic weapon. Oh, did he? Yeah, I really. So they're gonna use this on people. Well, wouldn't it just affect everyone in fucking Ottawa then? Or I wonder if it can be directed directly. If it can be pointed at people or not. Or if, yeah, but couldn't you earplug up maybe? Anything you could do like that? I wonder. I imagine, frequencies, couldn't go through anything, so I guess, certain frequencies would cut through anything, so I guess maybe earplugs probably wouldn't even work, right? Yeah, the monster. I've been up since 3 o'clock. I had to get up at 3 o'clock this morning, so the monster is just my coffee for the morning. I actually had a pretty shitty trip. Yeah, DARPA. That's directed energy weapon that uses a microwave, can direct in a small or large area. Yeah, it's not just the ears, it's the frequencies, I was saying. So, apparently they will use it at night. This is fucking horrible if he does that. This is fucking horrible. Like, this guy's committing crimes against humanity, and he's right next door to the United States, my country. And are we going to do nothing? Probably, because of who we have in office right now. Probably do nothing. Like, we'll send our boys halfway across the world to regime change some Middle Eastern country, right? But we won't do anything to liberate our neighbors. Yeah, I hope it will backfire on him, Michael. Yeah, James Casey, they have the crowd control directed audio weapon. It has gotten a lot better. You can actually look it up on YouTube. They can just point that at a crowd and then just hit the ground. lay down. Cover up. And yeah, recently I've seen that within the past few years. So, Trudeau seems like he's just willing to do everything to hold on to his power. He's like a mad tyrant, you know. You got a mad king up there. Fucking horrible things. You know, obviously he's going to do something. He wouldn't have invoked an Emergencies Act if he wasn't going to do something. Yeah, but who is he supported by? You know? Who is Trudeau supported by? He has a 16% approval rating. Like, how does he still stay in power? People just, you know, oh, I'm the prime minister. What did I say go? And everyone's like, oh, I guess he is. I don't understand. No one supports the guy. You know? How does he have any fucking power? We do need a trucker rally in the United States. There was a protest, I believe, yesterday at the Canadian Embassy in New York, where Americans were protesting there in solidarity. The West, those sons of bitches. The same way Biden is in power. Yeah, I guess, you know, 80 million votes. yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. So, yeah, it's all perception. See, the thing is that government has no real power. They only have perceived power. People always have the power. Always. You know, what if we just said, tax strike, we're not paying taxes. They're fucked. You know, so. Lord, oh Lord, do I have a shitload of messages on Discord. But yeah, YouTube hates me and they decided not to monetize me because my content is harmful to viewers. So if I'm harming you guys right now, just report it to YouTube. They'll take care of it. Yeah, I'll check out your channel later. Conscious Truth Seekers, I will. I'll check it out here in a while. Yeah, see, I mean, I had to go through it too. I was a leftist as a youngster. I fucking fell for it. I fell for the brainwashing bullshit, and it took me. It didn't take me that long to break away from it. I had good friends that were helping me get the fuck away from it, you know. I had a really good friend, the guy that actually gave me the nickname DWB, Dirty Wop Bastard. In my family, I actually grew up in the sticks in Missouri because my mother moved me away from the city when I was little, so I would grow up around the family, I think, you know. I am Sicilian, and my family was involved in the thing, but I grew up as a kind of a hillbilly. But yeah, the same guy that actually gave me the name when he found out who my family was. Licavoli, Licavoli is my family. He gave me the name. He's the guy that actually helped pull me the fuck out of leftism and helped me wake the fuck up to reality. See you later. No, I'm not in Ottawa. I'm in the States. I'm in Missouri. Yeah, you know, for me, I was involved in the Occupy protests and stuff when I was younger, and for me, it's when I realized how it wasn't about any kind of, well, at least the people that co-opted the Occupy movement, the, you know, Communist Party and everything, when I realized how bad it didn't jive with freedom, and I think 2012 was the year I was completely done with Democrats, because NDAA of 2002 was passed in the United States, which gives the president the right to detain anyone indefinitely without due process or trial. And I said, man, this is fucked up. I can't believe you do that. And then the people that I would normally was associating with at the time immediately started calling me a racist. I was like, I'm not saying anything about him. I'm saying this law should not, you know, be passed. This is fucked up. So, Hey, what's up, Curtis? Kurt. Let's see. The word on the People's Convoy. I'm not really sure what's happening. It does get pretty cold in Missouri, but it's getting hot right now, actually. That's why I had to take the hoodie off. And I've got the windows up, so to try and cut down on the noise of the unloading going on behind me. Yeah, I think the lies about Trump woke a lot of people up too. You're an Italian chef that's French. That's good. That's good. Italian food's better than French food, dude. Yeah, I was damn near a commie as a youngster, but a lot of it was entitlement. I felt like I was entitled to things I hadn't worked for, to be completely honest with you. And then, and I also thought that my position in my life was everyone else's fault but mine. And it wasn't. It was completely my fault. So then I scrap metal. I've got air conditioner radiators, and I work for a salvage company. Scrap metal company. So I'm actually delivering our scrap to a bigger yard and picking up a check. It is all about the sauce, my friend. And don't overcook the pasta. You can get sticky. It's terrible. Yeah, I work for a scrap metal company. I actually just recovered from almost having my toe crushed off. Like, a guy put an outrigger down on the crane. I was standing there talking to him, like, hey, I need you to do... And then he puts it, and I'm talking to him, and it's like, oh, my foot! My foot! And then I had to go have emergency surgery because it crushed and degloved the toe. But they saved my toe, so I still have my toe. I don't have a toenail right now, and it's a little uncomfortable. I'm still limping a little bit, but I'm getting around pretty good now. So, about I guess I've been out of the gym about a month. I don't know, I think I'm going to go tonight. I've been doing a little heavy bag stuff at home, but my teacher hated dealing with me. My brother called me an anti-conformist, so I told him the greatest compliment I received. It is. Being a conformist is not a good fucking thing, guys. See, I think that, you look at like what Jennifer Bolts is saying in the chat here, and I think that there's a big, in the past several years, there's been a real big awakening, and I think it's just growing stronger and stronger. And I think the Canadian convoy is like blown it up all over the world, so it gives me hope. Gives me hope that people will wake up and embrace liberty again, reject government authoritarianism again. I mean, it was a long time that people knew to stay away from this shit. Now, people are maybe starting to wake back up to the reality. I just hope that things don't have to get as bad as they have in the past before it turns around again. So, yeah, I don't know how much of a Trump supporter I am. I like him better than pretty much any other president that I've lived under, but, I don't think he's the savior by any means. But I think the fact that the media lied about what he was saying and doing so much woke a lot of people up to the lies of the media, which is very important. Being nonconformist just for the sake of being nonconformist, probably isn't a good thing. But conformity, conforming for the sake of conformity is a bad thing. So, thank you too, my friend. Yes, I hope it is, James. I hope it's the Great Awakening, because I think it took a world war last time to wake people up, and I hope it doesn't take another one. Oh, God, maybe that's what they're pushing for. Maybe they want that. Seemed like a lot of people wanted before. I think the World War III is polling like 20% in Congress, which is fucking crazy, right? You think about it. Slow roll. Yeah, it's true. A lot of people who supported Trump supported the ideas. You know, if you listen to his speech right before the election, you know, his last speech, like, you couldn't find a whole lot to disagree with him. I personally just didn't think he was going to do what he said he was going to do, and for a large portion of it he did, and then he did a few things that actually pissed me off, but, you know, yeah, you know, Jennifer, I wasn't happy with that. I wasn't happy with red flag laws. I wasn't happy with, you know, a few things that he did. But, well, he didn't do red flag laws, but he did come out in support of them, which he retracted later. I wasn't a fan of John Bolton, the warmonger. So, you know, he did plenty of things I don't like, but that doesn't mean that just because people supporting him or disliked him or whatever. Same thing with Biden. I don't even dislike Biden. He's just a puppet. You know, he's like, I don't have any hatred for anybody. Yeah, he did a lot of things I didn't like doing. Yes, it is ironic, but it is where we're at, and well, I don't know. I think we actually are the majority, and they're just trying to play this game and make us think we're not. Yeah, I don't vote. Here's my ANCAP hoodie, homie. So, I personally believe that voting is your consent to be governed. So, and I didn't give my consent. So, I give no consent to be governed. You know, they can do to me what they want, but I give them no consent. Yeah. Yeah, you know, about the, you know, make people think the majority have taken the thing, right? Maybe they haven't. To me, it seems like if it's an experiment, the control group are the unvaxxed, and I'm trying to get rid of that, because if everyone has an adverse side effect, then nobody does. You know, you don't have a control group, but nothing went wrong with them, right? If you get rid of all the unvaxxed people, but you know, they like to say that 90% of Canadians support the vaccine, the mandates, just because they say 90% of them are vaccinated. They say that. Who knows? We don't know this. But even if they are, just because they're vaccinated, does not mean they support mandates. Yes, we do. The majority is a joke. I did a video last year called Among Us and the Truth of Democracy that really will make you think about democracy, and because the biggest problem with democracy is everyone thinks it's great. You know, everyone thinks it's great, and it doesn't make any sense. Just because a majority of people think that something's true does not make it so, or good. It doesn't make it so. Yeah, no follow-up on them. Yeah, look, I'm pretty sure that I learned the scientific method in 3rd grade, and now I'm being told by people that just do, you know, listen to what the scientists tell me. Don't look at the studies or nothing, because there aren't any. But just, you know, just do what they tell me. I mean, there's a variable and a control, and these are very important. But there's no control in this experiment. So it's not an experiment. It's not science without a control. It's not. Without a control and a variable, it's not science. So I don't know, you know, I think everyone should make their own choice on what they want to do. It's a medical decision. It's ridiculous that it should even be a political issue. you know, lots of people have taken it and they're fine. I mean, we don't know what the long term's gonna be, but you know, it's for lots of people taking it and they're fine. I mean, you just have to take your own risk analysis. But I mean, that's the important thing about it. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a doctor and make comments on whether it works or what's wrong with it or anything like that. I'm just gonna say that, you know, there's always risk, and when there's risk, there should be choice. Yeah, the scientific method. I learned it in third grade. third grade. Like, what's that? 8 years old? It's pretty simple. Yeah, and then, you know, the booster also broke a control. Like, how do you know the effects of the vaccine once you start introducing boosters? And then they're like, oh, you can mix and match your boosters and whatever. So, like, just not how science experiments work. Yeah, the whole them being protected from litigation is very sketch. Of course, Pfizer did pay the largest fine in American history for experimenting on people's children without their knowledge. So they're real good people, the Pfizer's. Yeah, I'm sure it was though. I'm sure it went a little bit further, but I'm talking about just the basics of the scientific process is very simple. It's not hard for anyone with an IQ over 70 to understand the basic process. There, you know, I'm sure. But I wasn't talking about a high school. I was talking about elementary school. I was talking about 8 years old, learning the basics of the scientific method and how to do a science experiment. I think it was 8th grade or 3rd grade. I'll tell you what, I pay a mortgage and you will not coerce me to do anything. So I don't know why that's relevant. To be completely honest with you, if the government comes down and prevents me from working for a living, I'm going to become a criminal. So, you know, it doesn't matter. I have a mortgage. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. Yeah, I do know about that though. Well, yeah. I'd become a criminal. You gotta go work for the government. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm that top tier criminal. You know, those guys are professionals. All right, well, listen, everybody, just pray for them truckers, man, and I hope to God that they don't pull some shit tonight. But we all need to be like paying attention and watching anything that we can, so that if something goes down, then we can know about it, you know. But I think I'm almost unloaded, and which is great because I could be home by like 1 o'clock and done for the day. Only work 10 hours. That'd be awesome. Go to the gym. Yeah, that'd be great. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Thanks for the chat, guys. You guys are great. And yeah, just keep paying attention. Don't look away, because as soon as you do, they're gonna pull some shit, right? I think they're trying to wait until the attention dies down. We have to keep our attention on it, right? And you have to keep your attention on it. But I'm gonna work on a couple of videos later. Maybe I'll have some content up by this weekend. But thanks for watching, and yeah, you guys enjoy your day too.